What's up, weebs? Welcome back to Anime Lane, the podcast where we take you down the yellow brick road of anime and have a look at everything it has to offer. As always, I'm your host, Notorious, and joining me once again today is Shaun.
Hello there.
Melina.
Hello.
And our guest for this whole month, Manuel.
I'll be here all month. Hello. We can't get rid of him. He has lodged himself in this month forever.
It's so funny that it's like one recording day, but it turns into like a whole month worth of content.
No, that's not true. I'll be here every single day.
We record these 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. We are always up to date.
Yeah. So we know the relevant topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that Joe Biden re-election campaign,
Well, can I introduce our topics rather than derailing this early in? It's Halloween and Blood the Last Vampire, directed by Hiroyuki Kitakubo, written by Kenji Kamiyama, animation production by Production IG, music by Yoshihiro Ike, released in theaters worldwide July 27th, 2000, and then in Japan November 28th. No, I think I've miswritten that. I think it's November 18th, 2000 rather than November 28th like I've written here. It was licensed in the US by licensed in the US and UK by Manga Entertainment.
We allowed them.
I don't know what's going on with the license now that Manga Entertainment no longer exists, so who knows. And then there's no Alice in this Wonderland in Birthday Wonderland, directed by Kiichi Hara, written by Miho Maruo, animation production by Signal MD, music by Harumi Fuki, released in Japanese theaters April 26, 2019. It is licensed by Shout Factory in the US and Anime Limited in the UK. It is available on home media. It's based on the book Strange Journey from the Basement by Sachiko Kashiwaba. It is also the, just a fun fact here at the end, it's also the final movie to be released in the Heisei era, just 5 days before the Imperial transition.
Damn.
Yeah. That was when, what was his name? I can't remember the Emperor's name, but he abdicated and then his son ascended to the throne, which is the first in like 200 years or something like that, I think.
I remember.
So yeah.
The mention of the Heisei era, and we're not even in Godzilla.
No, but a lot of things that like, sorry, this is just a random tangent since Shaun brought it up.
I can't help it.
The whole like era thing can weirdly be like retroactively done. So
Yeah,
all of the current Godzilla movies from Shin Godzilla onwards are considered part of the Reiwa era, even though Shin Godzilla came out in 2016.
I know that because I know like that's been a thing for like a while, and like the Godzilla thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's only really applied to Return of Godzilla so far. That technically released during the Showa era. But it's considered part of the Heisei series. So, sorry, that's completely off topic.
Yeah, sorry. Look, we've.
To be fair,
You've been in a Godzilla binge for like a while.
I read it on the Wikipedia page as well, that they specifically mentioned that, and I was like, why is this relevant?
I don't know.
Why this actually? It's like not like any other anime. They're like, it was also the third movie in the Heisei era.
But I think it's to do with the fact that it's the last one.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it was just 5 days. I mean, it would have been even crazier if it was like the day before. That would have been.
Yeah.
But I assume due to like, celebrations and certain stuff, like Japan's weird and like doesn't do certain things during certain times, so maybe they weren't doing anything. Anyway, sorry. Where are we starting?
I want to start. Cause when of course I went through the Wikipedia page as well. I tried to know at least I don't want to know anything about the movie before I watch it, but I know I saw the duration.
Oh, is this
48 minutes?
Oh, this
We're talking
is
about
blood. And because we watched it first.
Yeah.
And I was like, 40 minutes. There is no way it's a good movie.
And
There is no way it's a movie.
It's not.
It was like at least 60 minutes, 40 minutes. Like it's a glorified episode. What is this?
It's basically
the bare minminimum for feature.
Yeah.
From that point.
Yeah.
And of course the story wasn't there.
No.
But the thing is, I have a relationship with this movie now because I hate it because the story is just nothing. But the art and the cinema choices, like there is a couple of scenes like, wow, this is really good. But as I told you, it's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's a bad Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
To me, that's it. Like there is no story. There are vampires. They're in the school. And there are a couple of things like the subversion of expectation in a bit, in a way where they're like, oh, they're bringing the girl to the infirmary, and then the nurse is gonna eat her.
Yeah.
But then it was actually the other way around. Like, caught me a bit off guard because I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like crap.
I assumed it was going to be the girl eating the nurse straight away because she was like, oh, I feel a bit tired. It's just my anemia. And I'm like, anemia?
The moment you say that, you're like, oh, you're the vampire.
Yeah.
I will say, just going off of that, this immediately like falls into like just something that basically describes my entire feelings of this film. It's about halfway through, maybe 2/3 in, I looked up the reception on this. Was like, is there something I'm not fucking getting? This is terrible. Like, I'm not getting this at all. And then I look at the Wikipedia page on reception. The first thing is, oh, it was critically acclaimed for its animation. It's just described on top 10 lists as essential anime to watch. And I'm like, I don't fucking understand people sometimes, man. This is shit.
What was the reception? Was really.
I actually saw, like, further down it says that actual, like, critical reception, like, on, like, Rotten Tomatoes is only like 50% or something. What?
No, sorry, I was looking for my backpack. I thought it was down here or somewhere near the chair. But
I'm just saying that I see Melina just laughing, and I'm like, what did I say?
no, because you brought up like the whole like acclaimed for its animation stuff. But there's a quote on the Blu-ray case that I noticed when I was putting it in last night from James Cameron. Again, it's always fucking
why?
Cameron.
I'm
James
James
Always
Cameron.
fucking Jimbo, being like, this is the new era and the standard of digital animation. And I'm like, we have very different definitions of digital animation now.
Like, I basically saw that on Wikipedia. I was like, I'm so fucking out of step with critics sometimes. This is terrible.
I wouldn't even say it's particularly like high quality, and like I'd call it standard.
There are parts of it where I think the animation is really good.
It's how it's used. I told there was a scene that stands out to me where the vampire huntress, whatever, she walks in the infirmary and they're playing big band jazz.
Oh,
and the camera goes behind her and it follows her movement, and there is this juxtaposition of like the jazz and this fucking girl killing vampires.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there is night. I think the scene that I remember. They're like, I would have watched just for that scene. But the rest is like it's a big nothing burger.
Yeah.
There is vampires. Okay.
So how clear do you think it was that she was a vampire?
Not clear until the very end.
Not until the end.
I found it so painfully obvious that it was going to be that she was a vampire, and that they decided to do that thing at the end.
You see, the thing is, like, I felt like it was like trying to do the whole. It was obviously trying to hint at it, but because it wasn't coming out like straight up saying, I was like, "Are you trying like? Are you gonna
usually the trope is the vampire hunter is someone that's like half, like Vampire D.
Because see, I wasn't.
So it's like maybe she's a half, like whatever.
I didn't think like. I kept like going, sort of being hesitant to like say that because I thought it was like, are you doing this because you're gonna pull the rug from out from under us at the end? Like you're making us think that, but no, she's just another vampire.
My assumption, based on the absolutely nothing that this movie gives us, mainly from one line of dialogue, that's all this is. At the start of the movie, they're like, oh, she's the only original left. That makes me think that she's the only actual vampire in this whole movie, and that the rest of them are like. Half like Vampire D, which is maybe why they need to feed the way they do, and why they're so fucking ugly.
Yeah.
I mean,
what did they call them in
Cairo? Because it's like the name of it's the scientific name of bats. Cairo something.
Fuck. No, I was thinking of the name from Vampire Hunter D. Was it Dampier or something?
Oh yeah, Dampier. Yeah. I'm not a vampire.
I'm a Dampier.
Dampier.
Hold on,
the dump truck.
Can you believe that this spawned like a franchise?
The thing is, like, watching it, the looking at the length of the movie and the non-existent story and the fact that it looks like a setup. It looks like an episode 1 of a series that I don't want to watch.
Yeah, it's a pilot.
You see, I opened the video to watch it, and it's like I stopped reading halfway through because I got overwhelmed. Oh, there is a series, there is a movie, but the series is not actually in the same universe. It's inspired by it. Am I right?
There's two spin-offs, quote unquote. Yeah. So there's this, which is Blood the Last Vampire. Then you have Blood Plus, which is a 50-episode TV series.
Yes.
And then there's Blood C, which is a TV series followed by a movie. And they're both like separate universes, but I think at the very base level, like the same concept.
Do you think there will be a Blood A positive?
I don't think Blood C was very well received, so I don't think there's going to be anything.
So it was only ranked C.
Yeah, I mean, people don't really like it. I own it. I have yet to watch it.
So what is the purpose of this movie? Why was it made? Yeah. Why was it 48 minutes? What was it?
Why did they do it like this?
Yeah, why did they do it like that?
You're asking me questions I'm not sure I have answers to.
I don't think there are any answers.
Okay, so just That's just how
It was just made because
It is what it
someone
is.
wanted to make
Hold
it.
on.
Someone felt a vibe
So
one day and was
I'll-
like,
I'll
I'm
just,
going to
um,
make something of this.
I'll just read the Wikipedia article of the production because I genuinely know nothing about this. So, so Production IG's president Mitsuhisa Ishikawa wanted to produce a new project that was an original concept rather than being an adaptation of an existing anime or manga series. He approached Mamoru Oshii, who ran a series of lectures known as the Oshii Gyuku, for teaching new filmmakers how to create their own projects about his idea, and asked him to have his students submit ideas. The submissions of Kenji Kamiyama and Junichi Fujisaku became the basis for the upcoming film. And here's the pitch: a girl in a sailor suit wielding a samurai sword. Which, that sums up the movie.
That's the movie.
That's why
I'm
when she's
sold.
in the school, they're like, I think that's a Japanese high school
Yeah,
uniform.
Yeah.
Congrats,
That's
they.
what-
It is the most stereotypical like sailor suit
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uniform you can get.
I will say congrats on them for making 40 minutes out of that and not expanding on it in the slightest. That's an achievement.
It sounds like the worst pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ishikawa
Like,
suggests
that's everything you're
But
told not to
Everyone
do.
stood up and clapped.
Yeah.
Like, this is
That's
perfect.
it.
Oh, but here, hold on. The president of Production IG added onto it by saying, Yokota Air Base for the film settings would work because it's the state of California within Japan. No, it's not.
No, it's
No.
a military
The
base.
state California what? Sorry.
The air base he referred to as being the state of California within Japan.
No.
Exactly.
Does he mean jurisdiction?
No,
Why?
like that's he
No,
thinks
like-
it's
like-
like the actual state of
Like the
California.
feeling of
I mean-
California, which no, it's a military base.
Yeah, it's nothing like the state of California, which is a rather large state with very
Yeah.
diverse.
You stated that you thought this took place in the occupation because of like
yeah,
how
They
yeah.
that
never
vibe.
specify until the end when you see the
What-
calendar says 66, 1966.
Well, I saw it. It's kind of.
It was on, like, a poster
early in the
for, like,
movie. They're
Halloween.
putting up like the Halloween.
Yeah,
like,
that's what
banner
I
thing,
saw it.
and it says 1960.
Ah.
Yeah, because I was looking throughout the whole film like, when the fuck is this?
I
set?
told you.
Yeah,
I think
because-
it's the 60s, but just
Yeah.
because of the cars.
Uh-huh,
But I was like,
yeah.
maybe it's old cars. You don't know.
Mhm.
But the occupation thing kind of made sense as well.
Yeah,
But, I mean, the thing is, the occupation didn't last that long.
No,
but like,
it was
but like, I understood why you got that, and like, especially when like, if you hadn't noticed, like in the 66, like near the end and stuff, I would have said even like the credits would make you think that because they use like old like war footage, like almost World War II footage, and I was like, is this trying to make like invoke a theme that's like deeper that I'm not there, or is it just to look cool?
Because the fact that it's an American base has no like.
It has no
Yeah.
bearing
No,
on anything.
there's no
story.
reason
It's
that it needs
the
to be
same
an
thing as
American
like,
base.
Like if there was in a random Japanese town, wouldn't work the same.
Like
in
the
a
fact
nurse, you
that
have a guy, like
she's working with like American agents
yeah.
also has no bearing
No.
on anything that happens.
I would have preferred it just fully Japanese because
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
you never
bilingual.
see you
Yeah.
never see Lyndon B. Johnson be like, we have to kill the vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
The
You know,
president of
he's
the time.
taking up the tradition from Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
they've hit the second vampire. Oh, God.
Fuck. A second stake has hit the vampire.
But yeah,
I've just seen that the director watched Buffy.
to me,
well,
it
from
is
influence.
it's a
Yeah.
bad.
It's a bad Buffy the
uh,
Vampire Slayer episode.
Yeah. Because I would compare it even to a bad Supernatural episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Like
sense.
this is the episode
Me-
where you get introduced to
I-
a scenario and then the
I feel
boys
like it
come
was
in.
a showcase of like technicalities and people that know what they're doing with cinematography and stuff, but the
Yeah.
story is just nothing.
Yeah.
I will say this is written by Kenji Kamiyama, and someone who's familiar with his work. He is extremely hit or miss. He's done one good thing.
So
He's
it's
hit or
miss,
miss.
miss, hit.
He is.
His hit and miss.
And, oh, nope.
He missed, then he hit, and then he's proceeded to
He's
miss
just kept
every
missing
other.
ever since.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did he do?
He
Like-
is the main writer on the Ghost in the Shell TV series Standalone Complex, which is really well
Oh.
done.
How did I know it was?
But he
someone-
wasn't the only writer involved, so I think that's really why it's can't
Oh.
credit it to him.
I somehow knew it was going to tie into Ghost in the Shell, and I don't know how.
That this is when Production IG could say from the makers of Ghost in the Shell, because
Okay.
everyone who worked on Ghost in the Shell was still
okay.
there.
So it wasn't just
Now they say it, and it's like you aren't the same studio.
Yeah,
you
it wasn't
were.
just. It's not just a marketing tagline.
No, it's
here.
not just a
Yeah.
marketing tagline here.
So there's also means there is no excuse for it being this shit.
No. No.
What was the story? Really?
There's none.
There's a
Vampire,
There are
girl,
vampires.
hunt vampire, girl, vampire.
Yes.
It's like a slasher movie. Because if you think about a slasher movie, there's
Slasher
no really,
movies have more plot than
they
this,
have
though.
more-
Yeah.
yeah, but like it's kind of like the formula, like
Mhm.
but it's done worse.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as good as a slasher movie.
It's like if you took the first 48 minutes of Halloween.
Yeah. Kind
For
of, yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit, I thought that like just going off of like the first scene where she kills the guy in like the train or whatever, and like one of the agents just goes, "That's just a guy in there." I thought the twist was going to be,
That
"Oh, no,
never
she's just insane
actually-
and thinks she's a vampire," and they're
Yeah.
for some reason going along with it, but she's actually just insane.
I forgot about that. That never gets addressed later.
No. They're just like, well, she does kill vampires. Every now and then, she misses, but that happens.
But
know,
apparently
hit or miss.
it's not her finding the vampires, it's them. They have like a whole oscilloscope type machine
Yeah.
thing that's attached to the back of the car that he's just like,
But
it's
Oh, yeah.
over there.
It's
It's like,
never
well,
really elaborated on.
yeah, it's like, well, it's attached to the car and the car's kind of
Also,
pointing in that
maybe I missed it
direction.
because we were zoning out a bit. But why did the vampire want to get on the U.S. plane at the end? Just to escape?
To be free.
I think just to escape,
Okay.
yeah.
To
See,
be
but again, it didn't like if there was something more about the American-Japan relationship.
Uh-huh.
It's like even when they show the people working in the bar close to they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're close to the airbase, so we're gonna make money. Okay, so it makes sense because
Mm-hmm.
the people. But then it's never really explained. Like,
That's just like such an like that whole bar is just very much like a normal izakaya.
one
in
of them
Japan.
just burns it down and then turns into a
they're
vampire.
the other vampire, which I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's so bizarre.
guess.
What's the point?
yeah.
Exactly.
I. Oh, and then it ends with her going to Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I
On
honestly-
the helicopter.
I genuinely thought it was going to cut to that.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Unfortunate vamp.
yeah. No, it really is like very strange.
Yeah.
Again, like so, that's why you talk about the Americans. But she could have gone to Vietnam regardless. She's
If
in
they had-
Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not that
Honestly-
far away. She could
honestly-
have gone to Japan for to Vietnam for
It
any
would
other
have
reasons.
made more sense had it had nothing to do with the American airbase because she's in a Japanese uniform.
Yeah.
She could have just been at
They
any
just,
random.
they just wanted
They
her
ev-
to dress the
yeah,
the
she could have been at
uniform.
any random Japanese high school.
They even
Yeah.
point out that like, oh, this is an American school.
Yeah,
We don't
they're
go
like,
here.
oh, you're Japanese. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, what fucking gave that
Also,
away?
yeah.
Am I wrong? Like when they're bilingual people, they speak
Yeah.
in Japanese with a voice actor and English with another voice actor. Or
I
am
think
wrong?
some of them are the same.
I thought
the
the
nurse
main,
'cause-
specifically.
thought
The
the main
nurse
girl was-
speaks in kind of broken English at times, and so does the main girl.
Yeah.
Um.
Wednesday Addams.
Yeah. There's specific times where they switch back to English after speaking Japanese that it's like the English is very rough.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's a different actor. I think
Really?
it's the same one.
because the accent sounded good though to me. Like I was like, oh, maybe there's some like Americans pretending to be like Japanese and like speaking with a broken English.
Yeah, no, voiced by Yuki Kudo, and then the nurse isn't listed here, but Saya, the
It's voiced by
vampire.
the same one.
Voiced by the
because it
same
was mainly
person.
the nurse. It was like sounds like a different person. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's just a thing with Japanese where like it's hard to speak in Japanese without sounding different.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's such a different
Yeah,
Uh,
inflection, everything.
inflection. Different. There's a thing called pitch accent, which is depends on where you emphasize in certain words that changes the
Yeah, yeah,
meaning. And it's like whenever you hear someone who speaks Japanese speaking English and then switch to Japanese, it's like it sounds like a completely different voice. It almost
Yeah.
goes up in register a lot of the time as well. So I think it's maybe just like a side effect of that. I don't think they're different, especially
Right.
because some of the English is like horrific.
Yeah. Can I just say, sorry to just jump back to like the whole, to jump back to the Vietnam thing because I've just had an idea. Like, yeah, I genuinely think this would have worked so much better if they had just had this. Take this whole thing, but place it in Vietnam, and it could have been a weird sort of commentary on like the brutality of like that.
Yeah,
war
no,
and
it
stuff.
could have been like
Yeah.
about Viet Cong vampires.
Yeah, like it could have been a
Vampire
metaphor or
Kong.
whatever,
Yeah.
but like,
They're like,
No.
no, there's a VC, and you think they mean Viet Cong, but it's actually vampire or something.
yeah, or
Vampire Kong.
something
Yeah,
like
Vampire
that.
Kong,
Vampire
yeah.
Kong. But like something like that. It could have actually worked if they'd gone it that way. But the fact that they just didn't, even though the
literally could've
possibility was there, is so frustrating.
You literally could have
Yeah.
still had her be in
Yeah.
the sailor uniform and everything because they could have just been like, we got to bring out the Slayer. And
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
her.
She's
It's like,
she's in disguise. They'll never suspect
yeah,
her.
it's like, what's
Yeah.
that, high school girl gonna do? And then she fucking,
Yeah.
cuts a vampire
Yeah.
in half.
They were so close to a good story.
They,
So you're
it
like,
was,
yeah.
they were just
Yeah,
so
so
hung
far.
up on like we have to have it on an American base. Like, I feel like they were more open to changing bits and pieces around the story, but I was like, if you just changed these major pieces, it wouldn't affect your story. It would just improve it.
Yeah, just make it good.
It would just
the
make
fact
it a
that
little
James
better.
Cameron commented on it as well. It makes me think that
James Cameron.
James Cameron.
GC.
No one's gonna get that joke.
They will.
Okay.
That was on this channel, wasn't it?
Did we ever explain that joke?
What's happening?
The James
I
Cameron
feel like
joke.
I've
Remember the
something.
Ghost in the Shell disc comes
Oh,
with
yeah,
a James
that-
Cameron note as well.
Probably
Why is it
would've
always
been-
him?
It would have been.
It is always him.
It is always him. Yeah. That
Yeah.
probably
Well, I don't know.
would've
The
been-
fact that it's based on American base,
Yeah.
takes place in American base. It's not pandering, but kind of like broadening the
Yeah.
market. Like you can watch it as well.
Yeah.
To me, it just makes it feel like they're trying to pull a theme that they don't actually want.
That
to
is
pull
not
it.
there. 'Cause
Like,
it's
they're
there's
pretending
no,
there's a theme there.
Yeah. Because
It's
if it was
all-
during the occupation,
Hmm.
I would say okay, maybe.
Yeah, this could make more
But
sense. Like,
it's afterwards. Like they're
Like,
allies now.
they
Allies,
could
so
have
why-
done-
It's 14 years after the occupation ended. So like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
they
What
could
are
have
y'all
done.
doing there?
They could have at least done like a general and have it in like an alternate timeline where the
Yeah.
occupation lasted longer or something.
Let's not talk about it.
I know, but like, the thing is, this one reminded me so much of General
No,
for
I
all
get
the wrong
that.
reasons.
Well, they released around the same time as well.
Yeah,
And
and remember
they were
with
both-
General, we were talking about like nothing really happens, or at least in
Yeah.
General, it was more like it's so fucking slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's another one that they used Mamoru Oshii's name just to kind of attract the attention,
Yeah.
and then it's shit.
Mm.
But
Fucking hell.
people.
Ugh.
I had something that I was gonna bring up. What was it? I forgot.
You forgot?
I'm sure I had seen something on the Wikipedia page about like why it's only like 48 minutes, and I was trying to find it. Kita Kubo stated in a 2001 interview with Animerica that he had the remaining story of Saya's past, present, and future in his own mind, but that it was up to the others involved in its making as to whether there would be a sequel. That's not a comment
That's
on why
not-
it's so short.
No.
That's not an explanation.
Oh, Production IG noted that they deliberately intended for it to be a 3-part story with the rest of Saya's story to be carried through in a light novel trilogy and a 2-volume video game.
Oh, that's a load of shit.
That is the worst thing.
That's, yeah, cross-media
Again,
projects, unless you're like doing it well.
I'm sorry, but it's like this is money grabbing. Because
Yeah.
if you want
Oh,
to tell a
100%.
story, you just tell a freaky movie and that's
Yeah.
it. Having
Yeah.
like the fucking franchise, like, it's a light novel, and you also have to buy the video game, and you have to play the video game for 60 hours to get the plot.
Franchises should happen naturally and only
Yes.
come in a way that like the video game adds to the story but isn't like critical.
Agreed,
you know,
agreed.
type
Like
thing.
supplementary,
Uh-huh.
not like meaningful. Like if they're going to do a multimedia thing, it has to be, if it's even going to be possible to work, it needs to be like a
Yeah.
huge name.
Uh-huh.
And even then, it's not guaranteed.
Well, it's like Ghost in the Shell. It's like that's a natural franchise from the development of the manga to the movie being really popular to then going, oh, let's do the spin-off.
Yeah.
But you take such care with the spin-off that the spin-off is so popular in its own right.
Yeah.
And then you kind of fuck up the rest.
Yeah, but well, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a point and I forgot it.
There was a live action adaptation in 2009.
Really?
I think that must
Yes.
have looked shit.
Oh, no, hold on.
Oh my God.
I remember what my point was. I like the idea that the creator was like, I know what ties this all together and stuff, but it's only in my head and I'm not telling it.
Yeah.
It kind of felt
Like,
like,
fuck
that.
you,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
At that point, you've just got a shit story and you don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
I think that the what we currently have is like really obsessed with being mysterious and intriguing, except it's none of that because it doesn't give us
No.
anything to be invested in.
I think audiences can tell when
I mean,
stuff like when mystery stuff is just full of shit and they're
I
just
mean,
doing
the
it to
cat
be a
is
mystery.
out of the box immediately when she goes into in the infirmary. Let's say the mysteries,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're vampires. There's
Uh-huh.
no mystery.
Yeah.
Like you hunt them because they are evil.
Yeah.
They have no motivation
They eat
aside from being
people.
evil.
Yeah. They eat people, except we never see them eating anyone.
No.
There is not a single character that's fleshed out
No.
Fucking
No.
with like
they-
organic.
yeah.
It's all tell.
Yeah.
It's like
The nurse comes the closest, I'd say, but like
Yeah.
I think
doesn't
so.
she
Yeah, but
see
still, it's like
a guy being
this
no.
deep, like very shallow. It's,
yeah, like they
No.
sort of put
No.
her as like the audience, like talking about. Hold on, who wants to talk first? It feels like you want to talk.
So you have the black guy at the nurse encounters. Doesn't he get eaten?
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
he
gets
does.
pulled into the tree.
It gets mauled.
Yeah.
When does this happen?
There's this black guy.
You've forgotten
He's,
this.
I
he's
remember the
following
black
the
guy,
nurse
yeah.
is like, the nurse is like, come with me, blah blah blah.
Oh,
and the man
yeah,
flies
yeah.
from a tree and he
Way
pulls
later,
a
yeah.
Batman and he just grabs it from his belly and he basically
Oh yeah,
eviscerates him.
that's like near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like what I mean is like we never see that. It's like they're clearly vampires, which means they're eating people. So the instigating factor should be that they're hunting them down because they're eating people.
Yeah.
Except we don't see anyone get eaten until they're already actively in combat with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really.
Yeah, like she has a
No.
flashback about the eating room.
Yeah.
And you see just blood dripping.
Uh-huh.
So it's left to the imagination. Like,
Yeah, like
I get it.
she's
I like
very
it.
sensually rubbing a crack
Yeah,
in the
yeah, I was
floor,
like, what she doing?
and it flashes back, and she's like,
And again,
blood.
that is never that power she has never mentioned.
Which I guess is to do with the fact she's a vampire.
she can
Duh.
smell it.
Yeah.
That's how they show that she can smell it or feel
Yeah,
it.
I guess.
If this movie was smarter, the idea that that we don't actually see the vampires really eating anyone until after we're already in combat with them would be an actual good plot point that would maybe be analysed. But this is not a good movie.
No.
No.
It doesn't want to analyse that.
It opens
It doesn't
like,
count.
it opens very not suddenly, but like she kills a guy on the train,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh, it's still a guy, and the guy's like, it's still a man, it's a person, it's not a vampire.
Uh-huh.
And even that isn't that explained? Like
No, it's never brought up.
it's
or
never up
addressed.
again. That's why I'm like, if it was like an hour and a half and everything was fleshed out properly, and characters were introduced and given a backstory and everything could have been something. But this is just the fact that it's 48 minutes.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything aside
Yeah.
from a Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Yeah,
episode.
Mm-hmm.
A bad one, I did. So
Because like the guy comes off the train, he's like, "That's just a person. It's
Yeah,
not a vampire."
and he's never
And
explained-
she like almost kills him, and
Yeah.
the other guy's like, "Don't do it," and she just doesn't, and
Yeah.
then that's it, and it's like,
Yeah.
And it's never brought up again.
and we're just like, "Oh, we're just blowing past
It's
that."
like
okay.
it wants you to think about this thing, and then like 30 seconds later, it's like, okay, forget it.
Forget
Yeah,
about it.
forget
We're
it.
moving on.
We don't care
To
anymore.
me, it's more like showing off stuff and how it makes you feel, but what you feel is not enough to be engaged and be like, I don't care what if imagine a movie that's like this, but it's an hour and a half, and they set up a sequel in Vietnam. Then wow, okay, but this is just like really surface level,
Yeah,
shallow.
It's
Yeah.
trying to like be really moody and
Yeah.
edgy and dark. But
comes
it
off
doesn't
a bit
give
cringe.
yeah,
It is a bit
because it
cringe,
doesn't add
yeah.
the substance
Yeah,
that
there's
goes
no
along with
substance.
that. You know, it's so.
But again, there's another scene where like when she's following the vampire girl, and she's covered with she's using the Halloween thing as a and it's almost like that's dreamlike to me. Like the music subdues. It was
Yeah.
it's very soft, and it's them, and you have like this weird vibes, and that's almost surreal to me. It's like, what is going on? Like, is she seeing it? Like, and then I told it's like the vampire trope of like being under the power of someone else.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh well, once you're marked, once again they say once, so once you're marked, they want
Yeah.
to kill you.
Yeah.
But if they never mention like, why did they want to kill this poor lady? Because she's been marked.
Yeah.
And that's how I was like, maybe the chasing, whatever, she's following the girl that's bleeding, she's under her spell.
Yeah.
In a bit, but again, it's not developed. It's
Yeah.
not fleshed out. They
Uh-huh.
just show you, and I like the scene. Like, it makes me feel something. But the story is just
Yeah.
not compelling. I don't want to
Yeah.
know what happens next. You know.
I find it interesting that like the whole like marked thing of like, oh, they're if they mark you, they're gonna eat you type thing. It's like, why would you mark the nurse at your school? Because if she gets eaten and disappears, of course the attention's going to be brought immediately to the school.
Yeah.
It's like you're causing your own dilemma.
Like that's one of the most high-profile targets you can have there.
It's like, oh, she was eaten in the nurse's room. Well, who the fuck was last in the nurse's room? Like,
Oh,
that's-
let me guess.
But they imply that someone got killed there, but no one has ever got charged for it.
Yeah.
At the end, when they have to cover their deaths, like, oh, these two girls, they left for other
Yeah.
schools.
So I
and they
guess there
burned
was
down-
another.
So I'm like, so something has happened. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
like even if you're a student at that school, it's like, yeah, we just had a small incident and the nursing room, but people aren't talking about it. I don't know what
It
happened.
was a small incident. You know, there was blood everywhere.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there was
Someone-
a head somewhere over
exactly.
But then you have the fucking Halloween
Someone
day.
just said they were a
It's like-
gymnast.
So
So
some
explained.
They were
some
a
weird
gymnast.
shit
They were gymnasts.
happened. This thing burned down. I don't
yeah,
know.
what
I think
was
they
it
just
that-
left
It was
school.
the like hangar thing that burnt down. Wasn't
Yeah.
it? Like, the
Yeah.
storage. Yeah.
One of the automobile.
Yeah.
The garage.
Maintenance garages. It
I
would
don't
have been
know.
more interesting if it was the school.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
add some stakes.
Yeah.
No, it's like, no, we are on a base, so we have to show a hangar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been too interesting.
And then it gives like 3 shots of like actual like fighter jets and then a plane taking off, and it's like, okay, but the rest of this didn't need to take place.
Talking about
Yeah.
this, I was like, the scene with the Slayer saying, "Get the car, run over, smash the door, slam the doors down." It reminded me of the beginning of Resident Evil 7, when the guy stuck,
yeah.
and I was like, it has nothing to do with Resident Evil, but it's very video gamey. If this was the premise,
Yeah.
if this was the first level of a video game, I was like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I
Setting
know
up
exactly
the
what you're
rest-
talking
I-
about, because just to go off of that, I genuinely had the thought that like that whole sequence with like the burning down like yards and stuff. It's when like the nurse was getting into the car, I was like, I can see this as like an opening level in like a Resident Evil 7 scenario where it's like, okay, this is the part where you've got to take control of
Yeah.
it.
Resident
There's
Evil
like-
7,
you can
when you
see
try
the-
to use the
Yeah,
car
but,
to leave,
like, against,
and the garage is also on fire.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? So it's,
Yeah,
like, it's almost the same
exactly.
setup.
Yeah. You can see like the QTE button prompts popping
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
above
Like-
her head.
like,
Like,
press
X to
Press
slash.
R2
Yeah.
to drive the car.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, if it felt video game in a way as well. I just realized that like, there is something that's missing from a movie point of view.
Yeah.
From a story. Like, what is the development?
You could almost see it as being like someone took the cutscenes from a video game. And
Yes,
just
Yeah.
mixed
exactly.
them in.
100%.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like not like a good video game, like a DVD video game.
Yeah, like an early kind of like PS3, late PS2. Where
Yeah.
they've got like the
Something like
animation.
Bayonetta.
Yeah.
And it was done on the cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put all the budget into the animation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Had nothing for the video games.
Yeah, they just skipped the parts where you actually play and just like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
show the CGI. But I don't know. Not a big fan.
No,
But again,
know.
there are some moments I really like, and
Yeah.
that it makes me like mad it's not developed better.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much potential to tell a good story.
Yeah.
There was. It felt like it was just more of a concept movie than an actual
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, no. It's
The
totally
quote,
like.
we just need a samurai, a sailor girl in a school
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Then they
Yeah.
just wanted to
Uh-huh.
have
It-
that.
it-
Boop, that's it.
Doesn't feel like it's gone through the development that it should have.
Yeah.
No.
It feels like we've got it's went from this very simple one-line pitch that the president of the studios added on an extra thing to, and then they've written a first draft script that isn't
That's
fully
good.
fleshed out, and
That's it.
someone went, "That's fine.
That's
We're
perfect.
we're
Let's
gonna
make
get
it."
that out."
Yeah, it's legit. I feel like if I tried to get away with some shit like that, they'd be like, so what's like the story?
Yeah.
Like she has to kill the vampires.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, but
There is
why-
no why. She
like-
has no why.
She has no
except
why.
that she's a vampire.
Uh-huh.
You don't know that until the end.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a shitty story.
Like, she just. It's so nothing.
Mhm.
Like I think the style. I like the character design a lot, and like the overall vibe. I thought was really good. And then immediately you're just like, but this is going fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked how ugly the nurse looked when she was scared, because it's something visceral. Like
Yeah.
if you would probably look as ugly as her, like being,
Uh-huh.
she's drawn
This is
so
the meme I showed
Yeah,
you.
live nurse
she's
reaction.
so like she
I
it's
feel
almost
bad
she almost
for
looks a
her.
monster.
Like,
yeah.
she-
Oh my
She
god, yeah.
And I mean, it's a British. She's wearing a cross, and I wonder if it comes later. If it comes
Yep.
up later, and she has a cross. She only a cross, and the Slayer just throws it away.
Yeah.
And they don't explain why.
No.
I'm like, why are they attracted to it? Like, if you think about vampires, they were repelled.
Yeah.
Because if they're demons, but
Yeah,
are
they
they demons
named
from
them as
hell?
demons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call them demons, which I guess is just a way of masking that they're hunting. But I don't know. There's not enough.
No.
In
There's
this
not enough
movie.
substance.
No.
Yeah. I
Um,
just remember the cross thing actually
Yeah.
made me mad because I was like, explain. Like,
Yeah.
what does it
Uh-huh.
mean? Oh well, if you play the 2 games, you will know why. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do
These
that.
light
I
novels.
guarantee you went and read the manga, the light novel, the other light novel, the other light novel, and the video game. You wouldn't actually understand anything
We'll
else.
tune back next week.
No, I'm not doing that.
Previously
Uh,
on Blood.
I would maybe read the light novel that was written by Yoshi, because apparently he's written one of them, and it was translated into English. If I could find that, I'd maybe read that, but I don't have interest in any of the rest of this shit.
Yeah.
I will say, just to like briefly talk about like the nurse again, I do think it was a really bad sign that she seemed to be like the audience surrogate, and she popped up like after a third of the way in.
Yeah.
It almost
She's
had-
scared when you're supposed to be scared. You're right. Yeah. She's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, I know. I see a demon on screen. I know what it's
Yeah,
supposed to feel.
exactly. It reminded me weirdly enough to get back to fucking Star Wars again.
Oh Jesus!
It was like this
Mute the
like
mic.
I know. You don't have to listen.
I'll
But
mute Sean's.
for me, it just reminded me of like criticism of like Phantom Menace, where like people aren't sure who the main character is supposed to be. Like
Who is the Phantom Menace?
Yeah, but like
Jar
that's
Jar
a genuine like
Binks.
thing about Phantom Menace. Like, who's supposed to be the main protagonist?
100%
Is it
right.
Obi-Wan? Because he's just introduced with no intro whatsoever. Is it Anakin? He shows up halfway through.
Yeah.
And he's a child.
Yeah, and he's a
And
child.
he's annoying.
Is it fucking Palpatine? He's not in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it Maul? He doesn't get a line.
Is it Liam Neeson?
I hope it's Liam Neeson. But he's
He
not
dies.
introduced either. And he dies.
I think there is an argument that it's Qui-Gon Jinn.
I think
But
it's
let's
meant
talk
to be
about it. But you're
Qui-Gon.
right.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very. It's very. There is more arguments against
I'm sorry.
why, like in Phantom Menace, why a character is not the main character,
Yeah.
than why a character is the main character.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, is it them? No. Is it them? No.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Are you
It's
fellas done chattering?
No, dummy.
Look. My main point was that
Yep, I will.
my main point was that the main character's Jar Jar.
Okay.
That's my main point.
Okay.
So
anyways,
scores.
Yeah.
4. 3.5. Sorry, 3.5.
No, I was going with 4.
Wow.
I was also going for 4.
I'm still like a solid 5.
Nah,
'Cause, like,
I got
I s-
more angry at this movie as we talked about it, so 4.
Yeah.
No, I'm sticking
fair,
with
yes.
my 5 because the vibes were really good, and I think with like just some adjustments that would barely impact the story, it could be improved so much.
You see, that just annoys me more. 4.
I'm with Melina. I'm a 5, and pretty much for the same reasons. There are some vibes there. They could have done better. You know, I got notes. Just rewrite the script.
Yeah.
I feel like
I can
could
send
do
you my
that.
notes.
I
Get in
think
touch.
you said it's on the must-watch anime list or something. If you
I said
remember.
that.
Yeah, but I've
So
noticed
I
it
feel
as
like
well,
you
yeah.
should like you should
Yeah,
watch
like
like
in terms
this
of
is not
just animation.
things.
Yeah. In actual story, you're getting fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You good?
Yeah, no, I just heard a little. It sounded like a static sound, but I don't know what it was.
Were you making Yoda noises again?
I don't think it was Manuel. It's kind of. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, yeah. So I guess we'll just move on.
We've still
from-
got
Yeah.
Birthday Wonderland
Yeah,
to
we
talk
still
about.
have
Yeah.
Wonderland. We aren't like super far in. No, we're not. We're like 30 minutes in. So we're
Okay, so we're
Oh,
right.
okay.
We're bang on
Yeah.
time.
Easy.
yeah. So Birthday Wonderland. Anyone wanna?
I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I have trouble like sort of like giving anything worth noting off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
that's the thing. It for me it felt like a perfectly
cromulent.
anime. I wanted to say anything else, but I couldn't think of anything.
No, I think.
But
like,
I didn't want to put it in the sense of like it's just fine.
I think the best way to describe this is like if you told anyone to watch an anime,
Yeah.
this is essentially like what people would think of.
Like,
because
if you
it's
just
like,
want-
I think yeah, that's a good description. To me, I felt it was wannabe. We talked about wannabe Miyazaki.
no, yeah, I felt
It is
that
100% like Spirited Away.
Uh-huh.
It's also Labyrinth. It's basically
Yeah.
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
This
This is
but yeah,
secretly Labyrinth.
it felt like it was like if someone wants to do a Miyazaki movie, that's it. But without any of the emotional like,
yeah,
because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a coming of age story, but you don't know
Yeah.
anything about her.
I
Aside
would
from-
say that the film was less about heart and more about everyone else.
Yes, yeah, but the way they
Yeah.
frame it, it's like it started and it was like very like she was in. I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be like, oh, I enjoy the summer, I enjoy the flowers, blah blah blah, because that's what they do in Miyazaki. Like like it's this girl that has something, and then she goes into this dream world, and then she comes back and she's grown in some way. She's just a goddess for some arbitrary
Except
reason.
she's not. She isn't.
No,
she doesn't.
but she's chosen.
She gets,
Yeah, but she's like she's chosen because she's the goddess. I'm like.
So how long did it take everyone else to figure out that the mum was the last?
The moment they
goddess?
showed the portrait.
Oh,
I figured it out way before that. I thought it was good. It became kind of obvious to me, but I have a reason for this. I figured it out early because of the mum's name. So you don't see it in the subtitles, but when she goes to Cheese Store, she says to her, "Oh, are those flowers from your mum?" But what she actually says are those flowers from Midori? Midori in Japanese means green.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it does.
So the goddess of the green wind.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
As soon as I heard goddess of the green wind, her hand fits in the palm print.
Yeah.
And then like they say, oh, it's like 600 years ago. I was like, that's going to be a case of like the time.
Yeah, the
Time is
time's
different.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, nah, it's her mum. And then I see
Oh,
the
yeah.
portrait and went,
Yep.
To be
Leo.
fair, there was a thought in the back of my head that was like, maybe it was the
also-
mum, but it wasn't until the portrait showed up that I was like, oh, it's
The
definitely.
Yeah,
little carpet rug thing that she has.
Yeah,
with the
that at
sword
the
and
end
the rain,
is-
and, and the cat is crashing in the beginning. I was like, oh.
This
Yeah.
will be important
Yeah,
later.
yeah. And then she gets given another one, and the mum never really sort of. She sees it, but she doesn't really.
But what if I think about it as a Miyazaki wannabe kind of thing? Miyazaki is it aside from maybe like an emotional impact that you feel like there's something going on, like oh my god, like I'm invested. There's so much expo dump that doesn't go anywhere. Like the freaking bird with the egg.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about the eggs if you never see him again? I was like, oh, he's gonna come.
I
he's gonna,
expected that to become important. Like,
yeah, I was
I
like,
thought.
oh, the egg is something that help you, or that helps you, or like the little birds they take you back home. I don't know, you know, something like.
I
stupid
thought
like that.
either the
Nah,
bird
just
was
world
going to
building.
come back and help
What?
them.
Just
Yeah.
world building.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
I thought the bird was either going to come back and help them, or when she caught the egg, the bird wouldn't want the egg back because it's fallen out of the nest, which some birds
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And then
that's-
was like, oh, he's gonna
hatch.
have this egg. It's gonna
Yeah.
hatch. Exactly.
It'll
That was
hatch at like the climax of the
Yes.
movie.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some
yeah,
random
exactly. But then she
follow
just
into that
takes
whole
it
myth.
back. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't
Thanks
matter
for the
then.
egg. Put it in my mouth.
A lot of so the pacing, I didn't feel like it was 2 hours long until we got to the 1 minute 30, to an hour 30.
No, I
an hour,
totally.
an hour
God,
30, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, the pace is really okay. It's really good. And then it was like, what is this ending?
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
starts to drag.
Miyazaki movies, they have the same, like they have multiple endings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they have like an ending in an hour 30. Something
Yeah.
happens, you're like, oh, that's the end, and then something else happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And this had the same kind of pacing, but
Mhm.
the last like 30 minutes, it were like,
There's a part in the middle you can take out and just go straight to.
and they have so many
the-
establishing shots that they look like they're just trying to buy time.
Yeah.
And then they have sudden cuts. I'm like, why are you having establishing shots and then cutting something else?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, cutting like way too fast because like establishing shots when you're just like we're entering a room. There's the bookcase. There's the window.
yeah.
It's giving shitty student film. I've made a
Yeah.
few. Come on.
Yeah.
It,
I mean, no, I like it, but then you don't go and just cut other stuff. Like there are cuts like when you're looking at a character and just moves to another scene.
Yeah.
And you have like 2 minutes of establishing shots, like them just walking from room to room. You know what I mean? There's a scene where like just
Yeah.
walking, like you
Is
can just cut.
there like a flyover shot of like the Timeless Rain Castle thing that they then just cut back to like them sitting in the pub or something like that?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Huh? What's the point?
It felt like they were trying to buy time
Uh-huh.
to fill up the duration, but I also felt like they were going overboard, so
Yeah.
to cut stuff out.
It feels like I don't know much, but I don't know anything about the original book. I don't know how long it was, but it feels like it maybe wasn't long enough to make a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
But why did they make a 2-hour movie? Is my big question.
Yeah, yeah.
Why
You could have
wasn't
made
it-
an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why wasn't it
Yeah.
90
Or
minutes?
48 minutes.
Yeah, or 40
yeah.
minutes.
But it had a problem. That's an issue that I come up with other stuff that we watched. You know, like Conan, and it's like stuff that's adaptive or something else. And I'm like, why do you have to be familiar with the source?
I don't even know you need to be familiar with the source.
'Cause
Or if it's
no,
just
but like it's a children's story.
yeah.
So I'm like, of course I'm not gonna like it because it's too childish. But at some point, it just gets not even confused. It's too much. It's overwhelming in a way about all the stuff they throw at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's just the scene where he's just laying in bed like a little Iron Man.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
It's like
Why
the
are we
beat-
here?
It's like, yeah,
Just
it's
to
like,
suffer.
I just sent a picture of you of just like
It's
the
the-
face and
yeah,
like right
it's
under
the
it was
B
just the
movie.
text
It's
smile.
the B movie scene where the B's just in the hospital bed. It's the same. How you said this. You said it. I was like, it's true. Like it's the same. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's not, there is no gravitas.
With the
there is
little
no
pink sword singer.
weight. Yeah, the little thing, just
Yeah.
the sword. And I don't know. I just felt like the story is okay.
There's-
If you ask me to recount the story, I have no idea.
I think the problem is that a lot of plot threads just get dropped
Yes.
because there's the whole thing of her taking a jumper
Mm.
from
Yeah.
Yeah.
About to say the same.
Coxcomb. Coxcomb?
I was like,
I
oh, is it
genuinely
Coxcomb?
saw that, and I messaged you like the nearby village of what?
And no one laughs. See, that's Coxcomb, and this is
Cox left.
Cox-
I was genuinely thinking to myself, is this like a Coburn Street scenario?
That's what I was like. Is it Coxcomb? Because that doesn't work either.
No.
But
No,
yeah,
it's Coxcomb.
she
They
takes
say it.
she takes like a cardigan sweater
Yeah.
thing from there all the way to the castle, which isn't a fucking castle. I want to add.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
No.
And then she hands it off, and nothing. It's never
And,
brought up again.
Again, I got so like I got out of it. I was like, maybe I zoned out. I missed it. When did we use
Yeah.
this fucking jumper?
Yeah.
No, they just dropped it. Like
No,
the
'cause
lady, she's dying of exhaustion because she's knitting too hard.
Yeah.
I'm knitting too hard. I'm dying. How? I'm getting. That's like very like fable.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
thought
It
it was
like,
a
it
nice
doesn't make
touch,
sense in
yeah.
a child's
Uh-huh.
story. In a child's story, but they should have talked about. I don't know.
Because
There's
it's,
so many
it's
things. that
almost
just,
from like that moment where it's like everything that came before almost doesn't fucking matter because they're just focused on ending the movie, which is still 30 minutes from then.
Yeah.
the fact that it ramps up so early. Like she goes to the store 5 minutes in, something like that, and then the plot just goes. Boom.
Yeah.
Spirited Away, for example, it's like the people that made this movie, they watched Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. Like, I want to do that, but like worse. You know what I mean? Like,
And Howl's already not good.
yeah, but
See, no,
just do it. But even Howl, it had like more.
It had more pacing. Yeah.
And there's like an emotional thing, like you care about the characters and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that they maybe it's from the book, but how the prince turns into the prince again.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the guy from House Moving Castle.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
Like a crow. Was it crow?
The scarecrow.
Yeah, you know, the
The
guy
scarecrow.
from the
Uh-huh,
other
at
Scarecrow.
the end where
and
she
it- and
kisses him.
and it's like, I'm the prince.
Yeah.
And he
I
never
can
see me
fix
I'm
again.
the prince from the other kingdom. What?
Yeah.
There's another kingdom?
Yeah. It reminded me of that. So like maybe that's what they.
I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I did like this movie. I will want to say the criticism. There are criticisms.
Oh yeah.
It does
Oh,
not
yeah.
need to be 2 hours.
Oh,
Holy
no.
fuck.
Yeah.
But I actually ended up with the statement of this is like Hal's Moving Castle if it was better.
I think it's better in Howl's Moving Castle in that I think I feel more drawn to it, but I think again I think it's similar to 5 centimeters per second. Where
Yeah, like it's not a great movie.
It's a visual thing. I think that it's really well designed and looks nice, and I was kind of more on board for that than anything else. Not again, I have the same criticism with the character designs, but that's because Ilya Kushnev has one character and just reuses that the whole time. He's a Russian, Japanese, I believe,
Okay.
character designer who's just kind of come the fuck out of nowhere. Did designs for the new version of Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and made the Major look fucking awful because she looks like the main character of this movie with different hair.
Really.
Yeah, no, he has one female character.
Yeah, like I
design,
believe that
and
because
it
every
gets-
female character in this movie looked exactly the same.
Yeah, no, he has one face and then he puts different hair on them.
This
Like,
takes
it
me
makes-
back to the fact that they show the hairpin scene in the beginning.
Oh
Yeah.
And I'm like,
What the
why
fuck
is
is
that?
That genuinely
I'm
got
like-
me
it
so
comes back
confused.
at
I'm
the
like,
end.
are you talking about? Is that the same girl? Like, I guess when she was young. I don't know.
I
Like,
don't know
yeah.
if that's meant to be currently happening because you see it later and they're like
Yeah.
around the girl that they like rejected.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what
Talking
the
her
heck was
again.
going on.
I have no idea
Like,
what the point
there's
of
so
that
many
was.
points. As I said, like, I feel like it's a lot of expo dump that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just there.
And like
Just-
the girl who forgets the hairpin or doesn't have her hairpin or whatever.
She didn't even forget she was at her grandma's
Yeah,
place.
exactly.
Yeah.
She
It
had
was
no.
so-
And again,
It's not
my
her
point.
fault.
My point being,
They just hate her
she
for
just
no reason.
looks like the main girl with different
Yeah.
hair. So I
Yeah.
That's
kept
when
getting
it was-
confused.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was a moment where like I noticed this and I was like, okay, it makes sense with the mum that they look similar, but they look like clones.
No, they are identical.
She's literally just her but younger. That's not
Yeah.
how that works.
No. That was another
I
reason.
mean, the cat trial scene was like hilarious, but like in a bad way.
I
Cat-
got
cat
uncomfortable
balls.
very
Cat balls.
quickly.
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah,
Why
cat
did the
balls.
opening have him with a big fat set of balls?
Why did the bird that never shows up again fucking slaps her on the ass?
Oh
She's
yeah,
like
that's
15.
Oh
right.
yeah, that happens.
She's like 14. How old is she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I assume.
Why
14,
does she
15.
at the beginning like just make a full like feel at her?
Yeah,
like,
she
her
gets
ass at the
groped
start?
and
I was
she's
like,
like,
whoa,
"You're
girl,
still
I'm
young."
touched.
That's right. God.
Yeah, I mean it's Japanese
Yeah.
anime.
Yeah.
Like,
And she's never like.
Then
she's
there's
not
like,
really like that for the
the
rest
cat
of the movie.
scene where like she gets turned into a cat and it's like the tail's being pulled and I'm like, this is
I
someone's
was like,
fetish.
I was like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said that's for the fetish humiliation
yeah,
stuff.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's I was like, that's someone's fetish, 100%.
Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, you don't need that.
Yeah.
No.
Like, you can just do something stupid cat-like, like...
And then it ends with the cat sitting on her face again, which I'm like, again, that's someone. That's
Yeah.
probably
That's someone that
into
wrote it,
this.
and they're like, "Do we need this in the story?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Guys, like 100%.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
immigration. It's the
I will
immigration
quit
process.
this movie
Yeah.
if you do not let me draw this.
They're like, it's like immigration. And then I immediately went, as it was happening, it's not like American immigration.
I mean, they feel your ass.
Yes.
Give a quick.
So I'm like,
She's 14, Jesus Christ.
Stop the TSA.
so I'm like,
This is a personal attack to the TSA.
but they deserve it. But
I was gonna say,
They've never stopped a single terrorist. So
no,
this is fair judgment.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It felt like it wasn't compelling to me.
No.
The story was just going so many places. Oh, and then as I said, they pulled Gandalf the White, the alchemist, which is
Yeah.
like the guy that can help them. Nope, for 3/4 of the movie,
He's a
he's
fly.
out. He's a fly.
You are too powerful
A
for the plot.
literal fly on the wall.
You're too powerful for the
Uh-huh.
plot. So instead of like having you whatever, you're gonna turn into a fly.
Yeah.
I want to state he was way better as a fly than
He
a
was.
human.
Yeah,
He should have stayed a fly.
it was just shit talking.
Have you ever? Do you know much about Final Fantasy 15?
Nope.
The one where it's the bro road trip. It's basically this movie. The
Really?
Yeah, like they get in a car and they just go on a journey for the whole game. And
Oh
it's
wait, no, yeah. It's like 4 guys.
Yeah.
Yes. I
It's
remember,
essentially this movie because like the guy who that turns into a fly is essentially just a carbon copy of one of the characters from that game.
I genuinely said to you at one point, I was like, I kept expecting the Final Fantasy VII theme to kick in, specifically when they were in like the desert sort of area, because I was
Yeah.
reminded of like the coral region of like specifically Rebirth, but like
Yeah.
that whole part where they're just basically going through the desert and stuff, and they're basically just on that journey. I was like, this feels so much like that. To
Yeah.
me.
The voice actor of the alchemist sounds so old. I'm like, okay, well maybe because he's old, but why would his voice age? And he wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's so
Magic.
strange. It was like it sounded older, you know, like his actual character design.
Yeah.
And also the music was a
you
mess.
had
Oh, I was not
points
paying
about
attention
the
to
The
music.
music was like, as we talked about themes, development, and
Using
exploration, and
music
using themes.
to
They had like a
develop.
million different themes. I don't remember a single one. The one they
No.
used twice, one when they showed the bad guy, which spoiler is the
Oh yeah,
prince.
the guitar.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
why the guitar? Not even the guitar. It was like
Because
bum,
there's 2 tracks with
bum,
guitars, and it's
bum.
the one with the guy who turns out to be the
And then when
prince.
they're driving-
and then when they're driving
and
super
yeah,
fast
like
with the
into-
dragon shit.
Yeah,
It just sounds like he's turned on the radio to
And
his favorite
that's
rock
the plot,
station.
Like, use dragon shit. Why didn't he use in the beginning to just go faster?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
You-
he only apparently he only has a limited amount of it. I think.
Still.
and it was more
They were
important to
in
do
a
it for
rush.
this part and
Yeah,
not the rest
I
of the
know.
movie.
Like, you looked away for 1 second. We're like, what'd I miss? It's like, he just grabbed some dragon dung,
Yeah,
as
dragon
they call
shit.
it, and
Yeah,
now
I-
they're
It's like
racing.
Skyrim.
Sean
Dragon shit.
started watching it like right after I finished it, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't expecting this movie to feature both cat balls and dragon, shit. Yeah,
I didn't know how to
Either one or
react
the
to
other,
that.
but no.
Yeah, you can't do both.
Can't do
man.
both.
That's too
No,
much.
but the music was. And then I looked up the composer, and she doesn't have. I mean, she has a lot of credits for other stuff. But it wasn't just good. Like it was so messy. There were so many different themes. They weren't developed, and you didn't have like a character that's like, oh, that's his theme.
yeah.
It's a theme. I counted at least 10 different themes,
Uh-huh.
and
Which,
it sounded like
yeah.
they were trying to go like for a Lord of the Ring things, like what thing when there's music constantly, but you need like a strong theme. Like you
Yes.
remember, you can hum the songs from Lord of the Rings. You cannot hum any of these.
But also the thing that they did with Lord of the Rings, Howard Shore did, is that like there's a lot of music, but all that music will have elements of other pieces worked
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
it. So there's the
Yeah,
main
yeah.
theme of Frodo and Samwise,
Yeah.
and every single piece throughout all that trilogy builds off of that to the at the end
Yeah.
you come back
They're-
to the
They're
original.
all,
Yeah,
they're
it's
all
like one-
developments of
Uh-huh.
the same theme. It's just like rhythmically and whatever. Sure, he changes stuff.
Because by the
They're
time
all
you're at,
basically
like,
the same theme, but
yeah.
he just like
Because by the time you've got to the sort of like midpoint of Return of the King, like Samwise and Frodo's theme is like in a minor key. It's really depressing and sad. But then by the time you get to him picking Frodo up and taking him up to
Yeah.
more the top of the mountain, it comes back to that original Shire happy
the
theme.
instrumentation.
Yeah. Like even just to go off, like I mentioned, like the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, the main theme, the
Yeah.
that plays in so many themes. It's like a constant motif throughout the entire game on so many different
If you think
tracks.
of anything like Star Wars,
Yeah.
you can hum all the melodies.
Yeah.
It's insane. And
I mean,
this
if
is
you hear a John Williams piece, you're not
know-
going to know what movie it is individually.
Yeah.
Unless it's Star Wars
Yeah.
or something
I, mean,
like
I,
that.
I didn't want to bring up Star Wars again, but like, yeah, with every time Vader comes up, it's a different version
You know,
of
but-
the theme.
yeah,
of, like,
exactly.
the Imperial
And
March
it-
for like what's happening
and
in
the
the
way
scene.
it's orchestrated, it's like Howard Shore does it a lot. Like when he wants something epic, it's all trombones, like brass,
Yeah.
and very bold. And when it's like the Hobbit, what it's called,
Back end.
that theme is like just a little flute and strings.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is just like very bombastic all the time. And it's like, oh, it's sad because it's a sad moment, but
Yeah.
that's how it works. Like, you know, it's just a lot of random different themes that just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I even mentioned earlier that I kept thinking it was going to burst into the seventh theme, but that's because like the actual theme itself wasn't really enough to really grip me. It just
But
felt
what's
like
the
it
thing?
was
Like,
trying to
they
get
There
changed
is
it
there.
a
no
million
theme.
times,
It's
there's no
like
theme.
so
Yeah,
different throughout the
it felt
whole-
like it was trying to get there, but it didn't actually
Again,
start.
when
so
they
I just
show
put something else in instead.
What's the bad guy's name? The princess.
Alter
Alter ego,
Gabagool.
Yeah.
Gabagoo!
Oh, where's the freaking
Gabagoo.
it's Gara
It's called Gabagool.
Gara Zoo
Well,
or
It's the most
something.
Gabagool
80s
theme.
fantasy
Yeah.
villain
Gabagool's
name.
theme. It's like
Melon
they show it once, they show it twice. They're like, okay, that's his theme.
Uh-huh.
It makes sense. Like everything else is like random. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a fantasy land, and it's. But then they drop it.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up 3 more times,
Yeah.
whatever, and they never use it again.
Nope.
They use the fucking guitars. I'm like,
Can I just state, by the way, this just to like go off on like the name thing? It was really funny to me that like the moment the prince got transformed into like the villain guy, he was just like, I got a new name ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, he had that
it was so
premeditated
stupid.
in
It
his
was like,
head.
what happened? Because it was an adult, so he had time
Yeah,
to think.
yeah.
It was like, well, if I get turned into a monster, what's my name?
Yeah, like but
Godzilla.
it was just like he
Gabagool.
looked at his hand and was like, I have a new name now.
He
Yeah.
feels his nose as
he's
well.
like-
He's like, I am now this name.
He
Yeah.
didn't even look at himself. He
No,
just goes- He just touches his nose. I'm like,
Yep,
evil.
got
I'm
it.
evil.
Got it.
It's too late for me now.
Gazoo.
Yeah. Why does he turn evil? Just because he's ugly?
I don't know.
I
Vain
think he is the
little
best.
shit.
I mean, they do show that he's sort of going into like an angst.
Yeah, I was gonna
phase.
say, it's like an
and
angst
it's
thing.
kind of a build up. It's like he can't take no more. It's like I'm ugly. Nah, that's it. I'm evil.
Like I'm imagining
he's-
like from the start, if I was like a teenager and suddenly I like look like that, I'd be like, okay, bad name. Here we go. I'm evil now.
Yeah.
Gabagool.
Yeah.
I
Gabagool, let's
no
go.
longer look like the prince. I can commit crimes.
Yeah.
Let's Gabago.
And he
Yeah.
blames the little. He blames, I'm sorry, Peepo is the
Peepo.
funniest.
Yeah,
funniest
no,
fucking-
that's
It's the name of a
And the other
famous
guy's
clown in the Netherlands.
Oh,
so
wow.
if you hear Peepo, it's
Talking
like
about
you're
Peepo's a
fucking.
funny
I
name.
liked it. The other one was just called
Isn't that
Ron.
Isn't that
Ron,
a,
yeah.
Isn't that a Popo as well? Mr. Popo?
Yeah,
name-
Mr.
isn't the name
Popo.
Mr. Popo?
what
There is a Mr. Popo.
in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it the guy
Isn't the
that's with
mayor?
the granny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is his name Mr. Popo?
Like a Dragon Ball character.
Oh my god, I never even noticed that.
Yeah, but like, so this tiny little Peepo is the worst of his class. Prince is like, come here. And I was like,
No,
Are
No,
you
he's
sure?
an apprentice to the sleeping.
Yeah.
Also,
the
we're
wizard.
not thinking of people. We're thinking of Ron.
No,
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
people
yeah.
is the worst of his class.
No, I thought
No,
I thought
Ron
I thought
is the
people was
worst guy.
the alchemist's apprentice.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Peepo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ron
Ron!
is the other one. Ron's the bad one.
Ron's the one
Yes.
that's a small little cat for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, who's shit at magic, and then
Yeah,
the prince
has a
gets
different name
angry.
too.
Again, feels like
Because
ripped
he's
out
shit at
either
magic.
like Final Fantasy 9 or 14.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, it's just this movie. It's so much like a children's book where it just every chapter is a new adventure, so to say.
Yeah.
It's
Which
like,
I did
oh,
kind
this
of
is.
like, I'll be honest.
I don't think it worked for this movie. I think it can, but it's very difficult because you're constantly changing
If
places
this were
and scenarios.
a TV series,
Way better.
because it could be serialized, like that would
Easy.
work. But as a movie, it's narratively, it's a bit.
I think all the movies we talked about today is like they
Have-
would have benefited from not being movies.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
thing
Thing to
going
say.
on
There's a
here.
thing going
But
on.
it's like if they were serialized, would have been better.
I mean, I
Very
think
strange.
so.
Very strange.
It is
Yeah, it's
strange.
weird that that's the sort of thematic through
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
here.
And the fact is Conan is
Mm-hmm.
actually a series. So it's,
Yeah,
like,
I feel
it's
like-
already it's a mistake
Uh-huh.
making it into a movie. The rest is like it could have worked as a
Blood ended up becoming a TV series as well.
Mhm.
I think Blood Plus was quite well received. Blood C wasn't,
I
but
feel like it's a surprisingly common thing for like just what we've talked about in general, just with anime. For like, this would have been better as this or
Mhm.
that or whatever. And it's,
yeah.
it's always frustrating when it happens because it feels like we're
Yeah.
saying this could have been so good, but it's not.
I was gonna say, yeah, speaking about the music thing, there's 2 tracks by a singer called Mealy who I really like. So when I heard her in this movie, I was like, oh shit. But they use one of her songs for like 10 seconds once, and then it's never.
Sounds like lyrics.
Yeah,
They show
because
that
I
they
heard
use
like it
lyrics.
starts with the like type
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and I'm like, I know that.
I said, "That is the
voice.
best song so far."
Yeah, because it's
And then he
not
just
by
got-
the composer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too good.
Yeah.
Because I heard that and I'm like, I know that voice, and then she started singing and I was like, oh, it's her. I was like, I didn't know she was in this, and then the song started and I'm like, oh, okay.
Never mind.
And then there's a different song from her in the credits, and I'm like, why not just use the
I'll admit,
actual song?
Yeah.
I didn't catch the first use of the song. I only caught her in the credits.
It's
They use it
it's,
so it's a
it's
very
so
brief
quick.
thing.
It's
yeah,
when-
I must have like zoned out at that point.
it's when they come back out of the like well during the ceremony.
Yes.
okay.
It's like it plays very quickly where there's like maybe like 3 or 4 lines of lyrics.
Okay, I get you. Yeah.
That's a song called Wonderland. Actually, you know,
Well, that makes sense.
could be the theme of the movie, and then the credit song is called The Show. So you know,
Why is the
feel
movie
like
doing
they
this?
kind of missed. You could
Yeah.
have just played the song from there.
But
and
again,
the
it's
credits.
not the composer's fault. Like someone told her,
Uh-huh.
"This is what we need," because you have to do what they want. Like
Someone who's edited that
Yeah.
movie has made those decisions. You know, to put the music.
we need the most forgettable music.
Yeah.
And he just played the fact that he played at all times and it was like so disjointed.
I think it's a sign of like a bad soundtrack if like I don't even like pay attention to it like whatsoever. I picked up on the 2 tracks with the guitars because they're so like different.
It's so out of place,
Yeah.
like out of left field. Like
There is nothing throughout the whole movie that establishes that the use of those instruments, and
Yeah.
then you have them used there. But then the
Think
rest of the
that-
soundtrack has no impact
maybe think
whatsoever.
about other animes like Perfect Blue. It's the music they use. I still remember it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's very atonal and very. It's more like whispers and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so good that I still remember if I think about it.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
I don't remember anything.
No.
Aside from the.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
At some
And-
point, you started improvising drum solos during.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
But the because we haven't talked about like the actual movie, what the fuck happens in the movie. Like it's when he's doing the ritual.
This happens sometimes.
This ritual, he jumps off the board, and she grabs him.
Yeah.
And they both go to the bottom of the well.
And the
But
wizard's just
actually,
there.
they didn't.
No, I love
They
that
never
because
did.
it was
No,
like
they didn't, did they?
They didn't.
the
They
wizard
were-
of the-
It was just like a dream.
to me it just seemed like the wizard went Lamal pranked. Yeah, just send them back up.
Yeah.
What did the wizard do? Why did he do that?
He,
What was
he
his...
just said, I know you did something. Or,
I knew you would be willing
You
to kill
see,
yourself.
You passed
Yeah,
the
yeah.
test of
Well,
killing
yeah.
yourself, but the other woman tried to stop you.
Yeah.
But
The
she
whole-
failed, but that was the test.
You should thank her. She
Yeah.
tried to kill herself with
Fucking
you.
ceremony was like, I have
The-
to drop this thing from the sword into the thing. Oh, but what if it like fails? Oh, I just kill myself.
I just killed myself.
And it was like, well, he has no like
How long is
heirs or
everyone-
anything, so it's like, we're done.
Well,
that's my king.
Well,
done.
guess I'll die.
How long do people wait around once he's jumped in the well? Like, do they have to
No, but
wait
the thing
for
is-
him to hear him splattering at the
yeah, they're like, yeah. It's like,
You know, like,
deeper
it's
than I
someone
thought.
standing
In-
over
in-
the hole.
Yeah, the Duke goes out and purposely puts his ear. I was like, there we go.
Yeah, okay, it's done.
in this case, like they didn't actually jump.
No,
I guess
no.
she stopped him, and
Yeah.
the rest is like,
It was
Did
revealed
the
to them
wizard
in a
come
dream.
over and just bonk?
yeah, you can always
No.
just chalk it off to like, oh, it's a fable. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
It doesn't have to make sense, man.
Yeah.
No.
It's not lazy writing, we swear.
Oh, also the horse.
What was the horse?
There's a freaking horse.
Oh, horse. Okay.
Why was the horse there?
I don't know.
Well, it was due to little Ron's shitty magic.
I
He
get it.
accidentally
He
turned
turns
a horse
he
into
turns
a
it into
fly.
Right,
But then he shows
okay.
up and he does nothing. It just disappears.
Can I
Am
just
right?
can I just say I love the fact that like the horse appears. The horse like
horse
takes
is
like
here.
most of them out except for what's the main girl's name again? Akane?
Akane?
Akane, which
Akane,
means red
yeah.
in Japanese, by the way.
Oh.
But
But
it's
I-
also an indicator of possibly the mum is the...
Yeah.
That makes sense. But like I love the fact
It's
that
like
the horse
Pokemon,
comes
like
in
a red, green, blue.
effectively like gets rid of like most of the main characters, and then the moment they're out, the bad guy's just like, well, thank you, and just locks the door.
The
I
thing,
kind of
Yeah,
like shocked
yeah.
face. Like,
Yeah.
What?
No, he does it so fast. It's like, well, that's convenient.
it's when the horse like becomes a horse again. It's like the butlerish. I don't know, the guy who was a fly, grabs
The
her,
alchemist.
the alchemist, and just jumps onto the bed with her. And he's like, if
Let's
it's
go.
angry, it will attack. And it's like, and being on the bed is going to do nothing.
Yeah.
What are you
He
doing?
just gives the horse a smack.
Yeah, smack on the mouth.
That whole bit was just random stuff.
Yeah, but that sums up this whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it's a random set of events, which if it were like a kids TV series, like that would that would be passable.
Because they have
I
the
hate
time
the
to
fact-
develop
But
stuff.
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, it's aimed to children, but Spirited Away is also aimed to children.
And it's
but
still
I think that you
entertaining.
can engage them for the whole duration. It's really compelling, and you want to know what's going on. With this, if I never watched the ending, I would have been content. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I don't care.
I think it's a film in the aftermath and suffering the symptoms of Your Name hit it really big. And there was like a time where I think Japanese films wanted to keep or like studios in Japan wanted to keep trying to aim for that, and it's like, if we have really pretty animation, we follow these like guidelines of story,
These criteria.
like we check off these boxes, we've got a hit on our hands. Except
No.
if you don't string it together with the care and the
Substance
the
again.
drive and the intention, you just have a string of events that don't tell a coherent, engaging story.
Same thing with Blood.
Same thing with Blood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's the exact same thing.
Production IG saw Ghost in the Shell go, banging, and we're like, we gotta capitalize on this. Did Jinro and Blood, and neither of them are particularly
Great.
well conceived ideas.
So then they just like retired into saying, "Oh, from the makers of Ghost in the Shell," and everything that
Yeah.
never made sense.
Pretty much,
I
yeah.
think Ghost in the Shell, even though at some point can be like not obscure, but like, like pretty. It's not everything is not.
Abstract.
You don't even have to like. Not everything is explained to you like you're a child. It's compelling and you want to rewatch it.
Yeah.
To get the story. It's kind of like Metal Gear Solid. Like the story is so convoluted because you have to replay it and replay until you
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, like
Same thing with Ghost in the Shell, and this is just like. But I don't know.
Yeah.
you're not gonna get anything extra out of rewatching
No.
it. You're not gonna understand.
That's
it
why
more.
my scores always go. I always think about rewatchability. If I know that I'm never going to rewatch it, that takes
Yeah,
4
that's
points
like
off.
a knock, a point knockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I think I'd stick it on in the background.
Same.
Like dub, on. Pretty visuals, not really caring about
Yeah.
what's happening in the story. It's just, it's well animated. It's just, it's poorly conceived in everything except animation. I think that's the core issue I have.
But for
with
example, the Alchemist, which is like an important character, he's such like a bland design. He's like a
Yeah.
butler.
He's-
He's the butler, right? He
He's
looks
a
like
very
butler.
stock character.
He's
Yeah.
basically trying. I think with his design, they've tried to do the Count from Whisper of the Heart and The Cat Returns, but without him being a cat.
Because to me, it looks like maybe because we watched Conan
Callous.
recently, but it looks like Shinichi with fake mustache on.
Yeah. Which I think one of his characters is later, isn't he? The Kaito Kid or something like that. He basically dresses up in like a top hat and monocle.
I mean, yeah.
Tuxedo Mask.
No, he legitimately
Mask.
looks
Yeah.
really similar to Tuxedo
Yeah.
Mask.
Yeah.
I'll
It is.
I'll show you when we're not
It's
recording.
basically
Yeah,
like a copy
do
of. Yeah,
Yeah, because I remember seeing that on the cover and going, "Why the fuck is Tuxedo Mask here?"
I gotta watch Sailor Moon. Sorry.
I have tried. I find it kind of boring.
Well, my sister loves it.
I
She's
think it's
obsessed
very
with
much one of those like shoujo that's for girls
Yeah,
type thing.
100%,
I think there's
yeah.
less appeal outside of it's like some stuff. It's like it's for guys, it's for girls, but it's
Yeah.
like there's appeal outside
No,
of
this
that.
is
Yeah,
clearly
yeah,
for
yeah.
like she's insane.
Yeah.
For it, but. Anyways.
Anyway, yeah, I think
Is
we've
it score time?
I
Yeah.
want to make one final
Okay.
point. Our main protagonist is passive to hell.
yeah, she does
Yeah.
nothing
She
in this
doesn't
story.
want
She
to
is
do
not an active
anything.
participant.
She doesn't not want to do anything enough for that to be your motivation.
They need to make an
They
actual
kind of
like
push
thing
and pull
to
It
push
is,
her.
it is basically. Have you watched The Big Lebowski?
Yes, I fucking hate the Big Lebowski.
He is like a. I love it, but he's,
Sorry,
it's okay. It's okay.
I fucking hate
He-
Big Lebowski,
I
man.
hate it.
It's a passive character.
Yeah,
It
no,
just
that's
does
why I
stuff-
don't
it
like
just
the
being
movie.
like-
He's far too passive.
I need to see it.
It's worth
should watch
watching just to
I
be
know.
like
still a
that's
Coen Brothers,
not how
isn't it?
you're supposed to do movies.
At this point, I want to see
think
where I
so,
stand on
yeah.
in relation to like all of us at this point. Like you said, you loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you two hate it.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
I want to
I-
see if I'm gonna be in a love it or hate it camp.
Yeah, because I watched it because I, for my dissertation, I was working with the passive protagonist, so I kind of had to look into it.
That's why
Yeah.
it's funny they watched Wonderland because it was like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
And it doesn't work.
drag laughter. Yeah.
It's very like I'll fully admit in my final draft, I don't think it worked as well as I wanted it to because it's
I don't
fucking
think passive
difficult.
protagonists do work.
That's why
I
they,
think
that's
they
why they don't basically
can.
don't exist.
No, I don't think it's a
Yeah.
function of storytelling that creates anything good.
Absolutely, it's very hard. Like trying to find examples of where it works well, and like with the films like The Big Lebowski, it's like it has to be in a world so compelling, but it doesn't feel like that world is forcing them. You kind of have to project yourself onto the main character
Yeah.
to de-pacify them.
I'm trying
But
to
that
even
doesn't
think
work.
of like of any example I can
There's
think of.
very
that
No,
works.
I wonder
there's-
if that
there's
was-
not.
No.
We had to think about it.
I was like sitting there and I'm like, I'm sure Scorsese's done this, and I'm like, no, he
No.
hasn't.
Even if you think about Blood, she's kind of just thrown there by other people.
Yeah.
But then she does stuff.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
has to do
she-
things.
she's-
though.
she
does
has
things
control over
out of
destiny.
Yeah.
duty.
This girl,
Yeah.
the main character from Wonderland, she's so not in control that she's even given a necklace
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
to-
forces her not to do stuff that she wants to.
The
But
get on with it.
apparently-
The get on with it amulet.
yeah, they get
Yeah.
on with the amulet. So it's like that was also an awful plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was just terrible.
Yeah.
Especially when he at the end goes, "Oh yeah, you haven't had that on for like
It
Most of
was. It's
It
strange.
made
the
no fucking
whole
difference.
time."
It's like the magic water in Space Jam. Same thing.
I'm wondering if like you're the thing you brought up about like how you're supposed to like project yourself onto it is why I got weird Zelda vibes from this movie.
I mean,
Outside of
yeah.
just the fantasy, like
Yeah, no, I think I get that.
because it is common for like children's stories to have a very blank
Flat.
canvas of
Basic
a main
bitch
character.
protagonist.
Just like you can say anything or do anything, can look like anything, and you know it's made
you're just
for
supposed to
children
put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah,
But it was just, I don't think it worked in this way.
I think you can sum her up as that clip of like, well, that just sort of happened. I didn't really participate in that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was her mum who was the actual.
I wonder
even-
if her mum actually did anything because like we keep hearing about this goddess, but we never actually flash back. We never meet anyone. We never see anything
Yeah.
that informs of us of what actually happened back then.
From the way this world is shown to us, I would absolutely believe that she did fuck all, but everyone was just like putting
I
like,
wonder
everything.
if it was meant to be.
Goddess.
Goddess.
I wondered if it was meant to be that thing of like Lisa Nalgaib.
Lisa
where
Nalgaib.
someone comes in and does the most normal thing, but it is so alien to whoever is seeing it that they have to think it's the
Lisa
work
Nalgaib.
of God. Lisa Nalgaib, yeah.
But
Lisa Nalgaib.
Lisa Nalgaib.
I cannot just write it off as well. It's a children's story because
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. Like we were talking about it before, Pinocchio is a children's story.
Yeah.
and it works as a movie
As-
because they
as
had
much-
to change basically all of it.
Yeah.
but it still works. It's basically the same story, the same beat, and it's not just enough to be like, oh well. I was reading the Wikipedia entry. It was like, oh well, it's from a children's book, so just it's okay.
As
But
much
it's not
as
like
it's-
it
it's
has to be
children-
enjoyed.
it-
I don't see a child enjoy this.
It might be a children's book, but the movie's not aimed at children.
No.
Not at all.
Exactly.
You know, it's this is not a kids movie. Like not in that the content is not for kids. It's just that it's not.
I don't think it
Too
hold their attention.
convoluted.
No,
There's
it-
a furry humiliation ritual. I don't think it's fun.
I think you underestimate how much that happens in actual children's movies.
Anyway, let's move on to the scores.
Score.
I've seen shit, man.
Shut the fuck up.
I will say 5. Falls flat for me.
I would say a 4.
Okay.
I think I might actually bump this up to a 6, maybe a 6.5 even.
I was thinking, like, I did have fun with it as nonsensical and kind of like
I was tempted to actually go 7. I'll be honest.
non-driven, non kind of plot driven it is. I was thinking 7. I wouldn't necessarily rewatch it in a way that like I'm trying to engage with it, but in a way that like funny visuals.
Yeah, just
you know.
chuck it on. I'll be on my phone.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, late night,
fair.
don't want to pay much attention. Put on it in English. You know, yeah, I think 7 is probably a fairish score. Yeah. So that's this episode. Yeah. Wow.
What an end.
What an
I feel kind of underwhelmed by the batch of stuff we've watched.
Yeah,
Same.
we really had a batch of just meh.
Because as much as I like 5 centimeters per second, like that's the only one of this whole thing that like I actually actively do enjoy. It's still,
And I didn't even. I would have said something similar, but I didn't even enjoy it that much.
yeah. But like as a whole, this whole recording section
very disappointing.
very disappointing. Yeah.
You've disappointed
Such
our
an
one
average
guest.
batch.
I think
Yeah.
that this is, you know, recompense because Eva was such like a high.
Yeah.
You know, even
We
if,
needed a minute.
yeah, to
Yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah.
You gotta watch all the shit before
Yeah.
you can
Did you
find
see?
some
Did you
bangers.
see? You see the Breaking Bad meme with Michael saying, "You gotta watch. If Neon Getters a saving deal."
No, I've not
1 to
seen
6.
Show us this after the recording.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Fiddle with that old subscribe button.
Please
Pair
stop.
of big old cat balls.
Oh no!
Smack that like button like you have a
Can we mute
degradation
him?
fetish.
This is my digital footprint, and you're hurting as well.
You can always
Don't
say.
do
You can always
that.
say, "Was AI?"
It was AI.
It was-
No, this was me. This is my voice. Yeah. Hit that
what AI
like,
would
hit the subscribe button, smack that like button. I don't
Just
know what I'm
leave.
saying.
Smack it.
Leave.
Smack it so hard.
Smack it
Let
like
them
a
go.
horse.
Pull it
Let
like-
people
pull it
go.
like if it's a cat tail.
Let
Pull it.
people leave.
Get out of here.
Ring the bell. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Uh,